welcome back to Project Independence, the new community talk radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm Rebecca Miller, along with Otto Los, Kristina Liu, and Dan Cox. We just finished the first hour of our show with Kai Sue, who is from Cornell Cooperative Extension of Nassau County. She's a frequent guest and a really good friend. She's a community nutrition educator, and she really knows her stuff. Just a wealth of information on hydration, the importance of it, and she's just able to answer so many questions and, just make things a little clearer. It'd be nice if, we could drink water and not have to run to the restroom all the time, but it's more important to get hydrated and lubricate the body and keep it that way. So another great guest, Kristina.
Yeah, every time Kai's on is great.
Is the ability to say that's not my area. I can't really get into that, as opposed to somebody who's going to be an expert in everything, no matter what.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think it gives a lot of credibility to somebody who says, I don't know that. That's
right.
not,
No, and Cornell Cooperative Extension they're such good partners to Project Independence. They provide monthly chats at Magnolia Gardens on all different topics, and they're so versed in so many things. We were laughing in the break saying, like, we would just love to carry Kai with us and tell us what we should be eating and drinking. And, but she gives such great rule of thumb kind of golden nuggets. I have like a paper, all these things that she was, shouting out are really good, because
I got all my notes too.
Yeah, but it is, and both of you had such wonderful questions, because you see all these things and say, oh yes, read your nutrition label, and half the time I'm looking at the label like I don't even know what I'm reading, and you think like, and all these different, and Beck, you're so right with the measurements, because you sit there and you could drive yourself insane, like grams, and you're trying to like measure it all in your head while you're starving. So it's really it's just a lot of great information. And if anybody missed the first part of our interview, obviously you could see it on North Hempstead TV or on the WCWP YouTube page or on our Project Independent page as well.
I did want to just expand on the point that Otto had, which was great. As with any guest we have on our show, all the recommendations and information and education, always go back to your own doctor.
Absolutely.
Not everybody is equal. So, just like, the points, you weigh a little bit more, you need a little more of this, you less of that. You might have a condition where you lose more weight.
Right. And there's so many different factors. Talk to your doctor always.
It's just information. Always check with your doctor before a change.
Because, and I'm glad that you guys really touched upon that a lot in the interview too, because, you hear all these blanket statements, drink blah, blah, blah glasses, per day. But there's so many factors, as you were saying, Otto, like sometimes there's men, will need more than women, and then the height and then the weight, so there's really all these different things that do. But at the end of the day, the important thing is really to stay hydrated. I mean, I am like always walking around yelling at everyone to making sure they stay hydrated. I'm always yelling at my parents about it, because you really do see those mild things. There's a lot of times like my mom will feel extra fatigued, or her stomach will not feel right, and it's really because, she's dehydrated, especially these hot days that we had been experiencing when it's so humid. And my grandpa was always getting dehydrated, and then you would hit this mark, and then Becca, as you said, then you have to do the IV. Like there's you hit like a point of no return unless you get that IV, in. But there really are so many different natural ways, and I mean, with him, I was always, towards the end of his life, I got him like hooked on like just lemon water, because it jazzed up the water, and it wasn't something that was filled with, it was a natural kind of additive, and that's a lot of tips is to add, berries to your water. I mean, if you go to a spa, you see, all these different, fruits, and they're really tasty, and it's something that you're able to, do ahead of time and have. So, it is important to do these kind of different things. And certainly I was laughing back when you were talking about the aisle, because it is the water aisle in itself. You're like, what do I need? Do I need spring water? Do I need natural water? Do I need electrolyte? Or like, what kind of water do I need?
Brands and shapes of the bottle. Like, does the shape have anything to do with it?
It is.
You said something, I'm sorry to go back, but both of you said something about talk with your doctor. And I just started to read it, and I have not read enough of it. A thing that says how to break up with your doctor. If you can't talk with your doctor and you don't feel comfortable talking with your doctor, this article would be good. And I'm going to say that's where it stops with me. But the point of what that made me think is, you really have to know how to break up with your doctor. You are not married to your doctor. If you feel like your doctor and you are not able to communicate, then break up. It's like a divorce.
Right.
How do you, you know, and it's not really a bad topic for us to look into.
True.
Taking care of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean,
advocating for
how
yourself.
do you
And
go about that? Most people, older people particularly, have this loyalty thing, which is a good
Yes.
thing. It's not a bad thing, but they have that, and the doctor's your doctor no matter what, and you don't want to hurt your doctor's feelings. Well, maybe your doctor's feelings deserve to be hurt. Maybe you and your doctor can't communicate well, or the doctor's not the communicative type, and you need that. Um, what I'm saying is, don't feel bad about breaking up with your doctor. And how you go about that? Actually, if you go online and you say how to break up with your doctor, I know there's one article on there which I didn't read yet about it, but point being, you're allowed to do that.
Right.
Yep.
I think doctors also need to have a natural barrier with their patients, because for them to get kind of involved with every patient and their conditions, it would be a little bit. So I think sometimes they go a little bit too far, and it's nice once in a while to say, hey, I know you got a mother my age. Is this the same advice you'd give her? You got to kind of remind them.
No, but and what I think you guys are both touching upon, which is just kind of our general rule of thumb all the time, is really just advocating for yourself and your needs. That's something, I mentioned my mom is going through health stuff, and it was important for her. She was looking for like a doctor who was compassionate, who was straightforward, so you have to find your own needs, right? Because some people just want to get in the doctor and not have, the warm and whatever it might be, and just get in and out. So that could be your need. So it really is important because it's a service, Let's say if you're hiring, someone for your house to do work, you have a certain thing. And so it's no different than a doctor, they're not all just, magical beings, even though we have a lot of wonderful ones, especially that come on our show. But it really is something important, and it really does go back to advocating for your needs and your wants, and it all, and I'd love Otto too. I know we did a lot of those how to talk to your doctor segments, which I think are so important. I know there's wonderful booklets out there that teach that as well, and I was writing that down because I think there's another topic we should certainly have back on the show. But it's all part of it, these things.
On the doctor's behalf, they have a full plate, and I understand that. But on the other side, there's a compromise, there's a fine line. They can't spend all day talking to you about your hobby of collecting stamps or whatever it might be. That's not going to happen, and I understand that. But to be having open communication about your story, your situation, I think is important.
Absolutely.
Your comfort level with the doctor is very important, and for the mental part of your well-being.
Certainly, absolutely. But back to that, and that's a great little PSA for everyone. But as Beck said, just always check with your doctor as far as all these things, because certainly there are certain people that, whatever they might be taking is going to make them more dehydrated. They might need more water, or there are certain things they can't have. How many of us see pills that don't have a grapefruit? There's so many different things that really, impact. So always talk to your doctor first. These are just some tips and tricks generally. But, Beck, and you had also mentioned briefly, I don't remember if it was on air or not, it might have been off air, but talking about just the effects of dehydration, and especially in someone who has Alzheimer's. And when I was putting together research on this, it all, we kind of touched upon that, because what happens actually is when you are dehydrated, the gray matter in your brain is shriveling. Think about it. You're not getting, the needs you have. Think about your skin. All these things, when you're dehydrated, this happens. So that's why the article was saying that people with Alzheimer's are really severely impacted, because they're already having these issues. and then throw on dehydration, and they're certainly not keeping track of, how much they're, drinking. So it's really important if you are a caregiver for someone, who might not be able to remember these things themselves. It's so extra important to keep people hydrated. So just, keep aware of these different signs. And Otto, I was thinking of my husband when you mentioned about how it is important. Your body actually needs some sodium if you're sweating and working outside. My husband, I mentioned before, works outside, and especially on these hot days, needs, he could actually feel his body, you start kind of craving, a sodium. So it's really important just to keep in tune with your body. We say this with all different topics we talk about, who knows your body better than yourself. And it's just so important to kind of have these little things, and your thirst cue, which is our new buzzword that we learned today, your natural thirst cue, which I really liked.
And fluid balance.
Yes, there was a lot of like fun little golden nuggets that was certainly in this in this segment. So once again, super important topic. I think it's something we don't always think about. But I'm a huge proponent of the reusable water bottle for the sheer fact of, I feel like, and this just might be me, I feel like I drink more water out of my reusable water bottle. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's in front of me. I mean, mine has really fun stickers all over the water bottle, so it's fun to look at as well. But it really keeps your beverage cold.
Surprising.
I'm constantly walking around, with that water bottle, because it does keep your beverage nice and cold. Which is nice. But, and I don't know. I feel like when I drink out of a straw in it, I just tend to drink more water throughout the day. Not sure if that's just me or. Well, my water bottle has a straw and like a mouthpiece.
That's a part of that's the beverage bottle choice.
Right, exactly. Preference. That's right.
Yeah.
It is. And it's just, I feel like I'm drinking more, and that is probably
as
opposed if I have my water bottle. So
is it a thermos? Does it keep the water cold?
Oh yeah. I'll show it to you. I'll grab it during the break.
Hot?
Yep. Yeah. And listen, and that's another thing too. My husband and I love a reusable coffee mug, because it really does keep your coffee hotter. So it's all these things, that you got to keep in track. But I was laughing back because, if I only opened the cabinet of every receptacle I have to fit water, I could just supply, the whole block with a reusable water bottle. And of course, we don't want to forget about tap water. Dan had buzzed in, was saying, what about tap water? And I know, Otto, you had mentioned that too. So there are certainly some areas they're able to do that. And listen, and there's so many contraptions. I also have water bottles that have filters in them. So, it was during COVID, that was a purchase actually my husband and I got, because it was very hard to get water bottles. So we said, all right, let's just have this on hand in case we need it. So I also have that too. That's a whole nother realm of things. So, it's just another thing out of that research you have to do to find what fits you best in the whole scheme of things.
I was buying a lot of water bottles because we don't have that great water where we are.
Right, same. Right.
And I was spending, when both boys were home, so much money. Plus, I also had a water cooler, hot and cold, and all that kind of stuff. And then it was so much. I decided to get a little bit of my refrigerator went, so I got one with a water.
That's what. Yep.
It's the best. I mean, my kids love it. There's no water bottles anymore except for all their water bottles. And the other thing, Otto, too, is, and I'm sure you have some at home, because no matter what event you go to, that is probably one of the most popular promotional items, is a plastic water bottle with the name of the agency. I mean, I have so many of those too, and I don't know what to do with them all. It's
I think this all falls into the same category that we had with the shopping bags. It's just these things. All of a sudden, one day, you're like, "How did I accumulate so much?" And listen, I'm the queen of going to a fun event, whether it's a concert or some kind of place. And you get your cup, so you have your keepsake cup. So now I have so many keepsake cups, and what am I supposed to do with those? So it's.
Well, I went to Fun Day Monday on Monday with the thought maybe somebody's going to be giving away beverage bottles. but they didn't. So I went and bought one later on Amazon.
Well, you know what? It's what happens. But
And I
I
saw you
certainly.
there back on Monday. You were working. It was a pretty tough day.
It was definitely a rough day.
And that was certainly a day, and that's Fun Day Monday is certainly a day I think Rebecca needed to remember to stay hydrated, being out in the hot sun,
and I did.
And we can touch upon that because it has finally come to an end. The Fun Day Monday season of 2023. You guys really worked super hard. Community services, the DOSA team that helped out over there. I mean, just so much prep goes into it, so much on the day goes up to it, so much after cleanup goes into it. I mean, it's really a jam-packed thing. And Otto, I heard you asked.
Yeah.
There were a lot of kids there that were volunteering or
yes, wonderful volunteers. We actually
where do
had
you get all of those people?
Julie gets them. You know, the kids need to do community service for their school, for college, for whatever reason. So she reaches out to the school districts, and we get a wonderful turnout. And in fact, after Fun Day Monday, we had a little ceremony for them, gave them some awards because they were so helpful. We could not have been as successful without these young people helping us. I mean, they were so good. So good, and the last Fun Day Monday is always when we do a salute to our troops, and that was packed. So that was the most people we've ever had at any Fun Day Monday ever. I think people were saying it got a news day, so a lot of different people were coming from all over because I don't know that the information was super accurate that it's for the Town of North Hempstead seniors. So we were just busy the whole day. We had hot dogs and ice cream and the regular cafe. And of course, we had the big event, Salute to the Troops. We have the Quatrain Quartet. They did the national anthem, and then they kind of strolled around and sang to people. We had Bud and Linda, who were at, the main pavilion doing their stuff. And we had line dancing and Tai Chi. And it was quite the event. A really great finale for
Kimberly did a nice job too of blasting out those songs. She's got a pretty powerful voice.
She certainly does. She's got a wonderful voice, but we actually have to take a quick break. You're listening to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back with some more of Talk of the Town.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast, and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios Podcasts, available on any podcast app. You know, those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
And welcome back to Project Independence, the new Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Rebecca Miller, along with Otto Los, Kristina Lou, and Dan Cox. We're now in our Talk of the Town second segment. We were just talking about how great our guest was and, just basically all about hydration and how important it is and cups and how to drink it. So I think everybody listening probably has cabinets filled with cups to drink, or maybe now they will, thinking about it, fill it up and, use those recyclable ones. That's another important thing. So, when I was in Italy, we were at this hotel and they said, "Oh, you can drink right from the faucet." And I'm like, "The bathroom faucet? Like I'm gonna just, I was so foreign to me. I couldn't do it. I like my friends didn't either do, we were like, I don't think so.
But Beck, what you just touched upon is something that I wanted to briefly, I know we had a couple of breaks, we're on a summer schedule here, but Beck had quite the exciting thing. She's talked about it a lot on the show, the countdown to her trip. So give us a little overview, Beck.
All right. So it was incredible. It was an incredible experience. Me and I was with a group of 7 people, and we flew from New York to Rome and was overnight. You know, we left on Thursday afternoon, and of course they're 6 hours ahead, so we arrived Friday morning and took a car to a ship in Civitavecchia, Italy, where we took a cruise down to Sicily. We went to Syracuse, and then we went to Malta, and then on to Santorini and Mykonos, both in Greece, and back to Rome. And when we were in Rome, we spent 6 days just exploring and taking trains to Tuscany and Naples and a ferry to Capri. And of course, we went to the Vatican and the Colosseum and the Sistine Chapel and the Pantheon. One of my favorite memories from the trip, I'm just jumping all around because I don't want to take up all the time. I want to be able to get to stuff in the town. The second to last night, we saw a lot of people in golf carts. And at first we were a little judgmental, like, hey, you know, you got to walk around Italy. You got to like find the places to go and the towns and, you know, take your tours. And all these like golf carts would pass by with these people, and you know, they look so happy, and we're all sweaty and like, I mean, it's incredible. We worked off all the food we ate, and so the last I said, you know what, let's just get an evening golf cart so we can go all places. So we had the most incredible time. 3 hours. We had this young Italian woman, Sabrina. She was about 28, and she had been doing this for years, and she was from Rome. So she knew everything and everybody. I mean, she took us to the Jewish ghetto. We went to all these places. Oh gosh, I can't think of all the names of the kind of a little bit more obscure places. And then we went by the Colosseum very late at night, and we'd be at a light, and like this huge bus pulls up, and he looks down and goes, "Oh, Sabrina!" And then they start talking like she knew everybody. She knew curse words when she was driving. I don't know what she was saying, but it was amazing. And I kind of documented everything on Facebook. Every day I posted some pictures of some of the adventures. I had the best pasta of my life. I don't even know that I would ever have it again. Here, it was so amazing. We went to a winery in Tuscany, and the family that owned it, they were, I guess it had been the family for, I don't even know, hundreds of years. And now it was just sisters, older sisters that owned it, ran it, sold their wine. They had a store. They also had a restaurant. So after we had our tour, we had a 3-course lunch. And one of the sisters comes out and addresses everybody in the restaurant. And she's like, "You are going to have the freshest pasta you ever had. I make it fresh, organic. I take it up pasta. I put it into the pot. I cook it for you. I put in the sauce and the pecorino cheese, you know, what they're famous for. And then it goes right to your plate." It's like, it's just the freshest, everything was like made within like, you know, a few minutes of eating it. It was so delicious. I think about it all the time. And a couple of nights prior, we went to this incredible restaurant in Roma where I had fettuccine bolognese with a burrata ball. And it was fabulous. I mean, and you know, you'd think you'd gain so much weight, but it's true. Especially in Rome, you walk a minimum of 5 miles a day because you want to go places. You wait on a lot of lines. The Vatican was incredible. If you go to the Vatican, you want to go with a tour. Otherwise, you will have a wait of hours and hours. When you're with the tour, you kind of like, but you have your own little line and you just bypass everybody. It was amazing, you know, seeing the Sistine Chapel. Otto, have you been to the Sistine Chapel, or Kristina?
No, I have not.
Let me just ask you a quick question. What shape do you think that room is? The Sistine Chapel.
What shape?
Yeah.
Oval.
Right. No, that's what everybody, it's not an oval room. It's a long, it's very interesting because you go through corridors and corridors of incredible art and tapestries. And you could take pictures the whole way, but once you enter the Sistine Chapel, you know, you're covered, your shoulders are covered, your knees have to be covered, men cannot wear hats. all cameras are off, no pictures, no flashes, no lights. And I guess they have to protect them. I mean, you go into the room and it's not as big as you think, but it's a rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
And you look up and it's not even as round as you would think on top. I mean, the art, it's just incredible. And before you go in, they tell you stories about all the different popes and, you know, all the what everything means in there. It was just it was an amazing experience. I'm still in awe.
I
I
can
have a
imagine.
question for
Yeah.
you. I have often had this thing. I've told people this when we're out on a golf course in a golf cart. All right. And I'd say, you know, I'd really love to like tour the country in a golf cart. You know, I can go through the woods. I can go wherever I want. I don't have to go on the highway. Does the golf cart, what did these golf carts go on the street in
Otto,
Italy?
have you ever been to Italy at all?
I have been to Italy when I was 20 years old with the Navy. We did a med cruise. I was
Right.
all over. We went to Naples, was our home port.
Okay.
We went Palermo, Malta, Capri, you know, all those things.
Right,
These
right.
stupid
Okay.
19, 20, 21-year-olds, all right, in the Navy. So things like you're describing, I would now do a lot differently than I did then. Needless
Well,
to say.
in Italy, at least in Rome, everybody drives very small cars. There's no big cars on the road. If you see a big car, it's generally a van for people, you know, going back and forth, traveling between the airport. Everybody drives fast. It is incredible. The golf cart fits right in there. I mean, there are buses, so they travel on the road. They can go. I mean, you know, when you're going through these cities, these walled-in cities too, in Rome, the streets are very narrow, and they zip through them just like the cars. It is frightening, exhilarating, fun, scary.
So they're
But
out there.
they're out
with
there.
The traffic.
When we went to Santorini in Greece, when you get into the cities or the little towns and the squares, the streets are very narrow, and you're walking on brick, and all of a sudden cars come down. It's like it doesn't make sense that you would see a car. So, and you have to literally go up against a building when they have these kind of like the trucks, the little mini trucks that bring food to the restaurants along the way. And we were there. I have this all on video when one of these trucks was turning into an alley and had to like make so many maneuvers. And as he passed, you could see where he hit the building. The buildings have bumpers on them. It's just, I mean, it's incredible, the whole experience.
So we wouldn't have golf carts here, you don't think?
Yeah, I don't think we'd have the same thing. You know, like in Manhattan, maybe, because, you know, you're still taking your life into your hands in the city. But if you're in the city, at least, you know, there are streets that you can go down and maneuver around, or I don't even know.
You couldn't go on Hempstead Turnpike, or
I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't. It's scary enough in a car Hempstead Turnpike, let alone a golf cart. But Otto, you'd love, like down south. Every time we would go, there's so many communities to just drive around.
Oh yeah, they all have golf carts. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking, Beck, the next thing for you is you're going to be golfing. Have you ever golfed?
I have never golfed. I've always wanted to, but I'm also a lefty, so I can never borrow anyone's golf club. So
I have a guy who I play with who's a lefty.
Oh.
So if you want to play sometime, we back in my business days, all right, I ran a lot of let's call them social events for customers, all right, and we would have people like you, Kristina. We would tell everybody, we want all of you to come out and play golf, whether you played before or not. And we played on some very nice courses. And what we would do is, there's 4 people, obviously a foursome, and everybody would hit the ball once. And if you didn't hit the ball, you just picked it up. And then we would go to the best shot and then hit the ball again. So you may have 1 or 2 decent golfers with people who never played before. So everybody, and then you go to the next best shot and you keep score that way. You know, so maybe once in a blue moon, your ball will be a good shot. You know, you might hit the ball good, or you might putt good or whatever. But people loved it because it gave them a chance to play something they never played.
Yeah. I always wanted to. And listen, I'll do it for the outfit. I love a good
right.
theme.
What a nice outfit.
I'm very serious about this. We should try to
All
do
right.
something like
We
this.
should. My
Right.
son Matt is a golfer. He loves to golf. He golfed yesterday, or the day before. I can't.
I golfed yesterday. Frankly, that's why Tuesdays are a bad day for me, because I have a group I play with, and I'm kind of, as you probably can imagine, a little bit of a ringleader.
Shocking, Beck.
And coordinating it. We have 12 people that play here, there, wherever. And
That's awesome, though. I love that, Otto.
it's a great game for people. You can play forever. I just played yesterday, and I just love playing. And you're out in the air. I know some people say you're ruining the walk. Not really. Depends on your attitude towards it. But we're going to do this someday.
All right.
But going back to your trip, I was all over the Mediterranean with what they call the Med Cruise, with the Sixth Fleet. And we were in Greece and Turkey, and I could tell you stories. I was an armed guard in a Turkish bank in Istanbul,
Wow.
with a gun with no bullets in it, like Barney Fife. There's a lot of stories, and
one thing.
But the water, you said on a
Gorgeous.
Facebook article, I used to sit and look at the water,
Yeah.
and imagine just how blue it was
Yeah.
in the Mediterranean. There's nothing like it here.
There's no color like that I could find that will
It's
ever.
unbelievable.
And the
really.
camera doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
But another kind of exciting thing that happened, and I strongly recommend, and I have for years, if you go on any kind of cruise, get a balcony. You splurge. You won't be mad at yourself. It's so nice to be able to, even though there are some rooms that have big windows, you can't open them. You want to be able to get out on that balcony and why are you on a cruise if not, and people say, well, you don't spend a lot of time in the room. Well, you know what you do? You sleep in the room, you come back to the room for a rest, you get ready. It's so nice. So I'm sitting out on the balcony. We're in the middle of the Mediterranean. And I see, like, in the middle of the sea, this big mountain, right? It's just like, it looks like a triangle, the top of a triangle. And I'm looking and I'm sitting out there and I'm like, that's so weird, We're getting closer and I'm seeing like little clouds, like right at the peak of it. And we're getting closer and I'm like, this is a volcano. So it was Volcano Stromboli, which is I think it's the longest erupting volcano of all times. It started in 1930 and it's been erupting ever since. And it's not, there are sailboats. We're getting closer and closer. And I'm like telling my friends are in there, I'm like, you guys, this is a volcano. And we're watching, and I have incredible video. And as you get closer and closer, you see all these people's sailboats, they sail to it. So obviously we're near something, some kind of land. And it was just a phenomenal sight. We're getting closer to it. As we get closer to it, I think the captain was getting the ship as close to it as he could. And it was amazing. I was showing, of course, my sons when I got home, like, and it erupts differently every second. Like, you'll see some puff go to the right, some go straight up, some spread out, some it just doesn't change. And I was just, I don't know.
Well, it's just like a breathtaking thing to experience.
In the middle of
it's a great body of water, the Mediterranean Sea. It really is.
I jumped off a boat in the Ionian Sea when we were in Syracuse. We were like going through the caves on this little boat, for which one of the bridges was so low we all had to duck and like go down, bring our head down to our knees so we could go under this one bridge to get us to the caves. The experience was incredible. I can't even say enough, because even the way I'm explaining it, I'm just so happy I have pictures.
Yeah, of course.
It was amazing. Amazing. I would do it all again. It was exhausting. It was exhilarating. And I think I'm over my jet lag now.
There you go. Well, good. Well, it was so, it's important. It's one of those things, to do these amazing little trips and experience things and get out there. So
just do it. Don't just book it. Even because you can always cancel a trip. So if you think you want to go next year to Italy or Paris or wherever, book the trip and you can always cancel. Usually you have 30 days or whatever. But if it's not there, you're really not doing it. But if you just
I
do it.
completely agree with what you said. I have friends. We used to go. I maybe have been on like 4 non-Navy cruises, all right? And on these cruises, the balcony is a very big deal to me because you can really sit there, relax, look out, see the sea, see stuff going by. And I have friends of mine that say, nah, I'm going to go on the inside because it's a lot less expensive. My opinion is go on one less cruise,
Right.
do the balcony.
You need to experience that. But actually, we have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Project Independence and You Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I guess we're going to have to talk about what's going on in the town because it's our last Talk of the Town segment. So we'll be right back after a few minutes.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
And welcome back to Project Independence and You Community Talk Radio at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We are in the Talk of the Town segments, our final for this 2-hour Project Independence and You show. And I know during break, Otto, you had a quick story you wanted to share, and then we're going to hear all about
this is
what's going on in the town.
Near as exciting as your journey, all right? But near here, where I live, Denton Avenue, there's a miniature golf course. So I went to the miniature golf course with my son and his 2 boys to play miniature golf. And when we get to the miniature golf course, to get into the miniature golf course, there was a fence about 1.5 feet high, and on it said, "Please step over this. We want to keep the geese out." So I'm saying to myself, keep the geese out. Can't the geese just fly over that with no problem? And what I learned was that geese love to walk. And when they look for food, they graze and they do not fly. And I found that unbelievable. They love to walk. And
I mean, most of the geese I see are walking, if you think about it.
When they're looking for food, they do not fly. They graze.
Interesting.
But they do nest high, so they do fly.
They do fly, but they didn't go, that fence stopped them from going into the miniature golf course.
They didn't want to bother.
Yeah, they said there's no food, right? Forget it.
No food.
Yeah,
well, I mean, they could have. I don't know the mentality of a Canadian geese, but
interesting.
I do know that they can fly and they fly long distances.
Right.
But that was really weird to me. I mean, this fence is like 1.5 feet high, and it's there to prevent the geese from getting in. I'm saying,
interesting.
What's the point?
What's that? Right in North Hempstead.
I looked it up on Dr. Google.
There you go.
There you go, Professor Google.
Whole story.
Yeah, that's right. Very interesting.
Anyhow,
fun fact.
That was one of the exciting events.
I like it. A fun fact in North Hempstead. I like it.
Yeah,
but speaking of North Hempstead, I want to just let people know that we have a bunch of really great topics and shows coming up. And of course, if you ever have a topic you are interested in or a guest of someone that you think might be wonderful for the show, please call 311 or 516-869-6311 and ask for me, and I'll be happy to find a topic. But coming up, I just want to let people know we have some repeat shows the week of September 1st and September 8th. But on September 15th, we'll be back talking about medication management, which is certainly an important topic. And then on September 22nd, we will be celebrating our 12th anniversary of this show. The supervisor will pop on, and it'll be us, and I'm sure there'll be other people popping on too, but it's really nice to celebrate this show and just kind of recap all the amazing topics that we've had. And then on September 29th, we have the Crohn's and Colitis Long Island chapter will be on. So that's an organization that is in the town that we can learn about. And then in October, we have a bunch of great shows coming up. We're going to have the Northwell Health at Home program. Of course, one of the hot topics, which Otto, I'm sure, will come with great questions, is the Medicare 2024 updates and open enrollment. On October 27th, we're going to have on National Grid, and they're going to talk about the home energy affordability team programs and services. So there's a lot of variety of topics. Obviously, we will be promoting any other events that will be going on in North Hempstead as well, but a lot of good stuff, a lot of information. So I'm excited for that. A way to kick off, the fall season.
I have a question for you as far as the topic goes, all right?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
And I read that hospitals are starting to really get into this.
Okay.
And that is AI, artificial intelligence. Do we have, or could we get through Northwell or whoever, somebody that could talk about, give a primer on AI? So just to give you,
like in terms of like
that chat
hospitals,
GPT and that kind of stuff. What is it? What is it really? I mean, it sounds like a wonder thing that can do everything and anything. But how does it function? Like this chat, I think it's Chat GPT. I've never been on it. But how does it impact us? What will it do to us? It's an interesting topic. It impacts a lot of things, and it will impact healthcare. So let's start with that.
Absolutely.
What is it, and how does it impact healthcare?
Okay, you got it. I will mark it down on my topics to find list. But also I need people to register because it's filling up rapidly. I mean, as of yesterday, there was 150 people already registered for this, but it is the New York Citizen Preparedness Training Program. It's very important. I've done this training. It's a partnership with New York State. It's really all about how severe weather events are certainly becoming more frequent and extreme. I think if anyone's watching the news, they could see that this is quite the case. I mean, it's so important to be prepared and know how to prepare and have a plan in place. Each family that attends will get one emergency backpack that's like kind of a little starter kit for you. It's going to kick off at 9 a.m. on September 6th at Clinton G. Martin Park. The training goes for about 2 hours, but you have to register for this program because it is so popular. You can't just show up. You need to register. And as I said, people are certainly, it's filling up very fast. So
right. And this show is airing on Friday, August 25th.
Yes.
So you don't have that much time. So if you're listening to the show, just know that it's September 6th,
absolutely
2023.
Yes.
The recent events in Maui made me think about a lot of things. First of all, how sad it is. It's like New Hyde Park burning down to the ground. And then you think about things like medication, like with this preparedness business, all right? All of a sudden, they're gone. And there had to be people among them who did make it, who have medication needs, just a basic.
No, it's a major, and that's Otto, and even I remember during Hurricane Sandy here, that was a huge issue for so many of our seniors, especially the ones that, were on oxygen because they didn't have this backup. And then there was this shortage, so that's important. And that's something that, if you attend this program, is certainly going to be on the list, is really, planning for that, and having extra medicine on hand, and it's really just things that, for your own individual need that you need to have, kind of part of your thing, because we've all been there. I mean, there is nothing worse than even something as simple as making sure your flashlights have working batteries. I feel like it always was a thing in my family, we'd lose power, someone grabs a flashlight and the flashlight is not working, so you're scrambling around trying to find batteries. So it's really important to stay on top of all of these things, and just have it situated, because we don't want anyone being in the emergency situation not being prepared. So
right. And a lot of these things I mean, I'll just throw this out there.
Mhm.
You know, we hear about a hurricane coming weeks before it's going to hit.
Right.
So don't wait until the day before when they're 100% sure it's going to hit. You know, it's good change. We all know that hurricanes change place routes
Absolutely
and
right.
could go here. Just prepare for it. You know, like Otto was saying, you know, make sure you have a to go, something to go with your
Mhm.
medication. You know, talk to somebody where you can leave if you have to leave. Make reservations at a hotel well in advance. You
Mhm.
know, do things, be proactive. So,
Yeah, and then there's
Well,
really, I mean, obviously there's a gamut of things, you know, but I
right.
think with with
Yeah,
well, I
people, like, it
mean,
is important to have these little things for any reason, you
yeah,
know,
but
like
a
as I mentioned.
major,
Yeah.
think about a major, like in Maui, all right? Basically, they have to reconstruct their life, all
Hmm.
right? So if you don't have a record of everything, like all your insurance, your passports, your this, your that, everything that you would need to rebuild your life, all your credit card numbers, this, that sounds mundane, but man, if you got to start from scratch and rebuild that
Hmm.
stuff, you almost really need to have a good document that has all of this. And one of the things you take with you is that. So,
Hmm.
you know, God forbid you do have to start over again, like the people in
Absolutely.
that.
No, and there's wonderful, you know, like waterproof sealed envelope things. You know, I know we do that. My husband and I, we have all of our important kind of documents in that, you know, in the safe. So we know, you know, where to grab it, you know, and it's so important to have those things. And even just for the sheer fact of keeping it all one place, you know, for other things that might come up in life, you know, it just, and like that's what, you know, a lot of people are hesitant. They, oh, you know, oh, that's never going to happen here, that, you know, but so many of these little things that you'll learn are things that you could really adapt, not just for some kind of, you know, major catastrophic disaster, but little things that happen, you know, if there is, you know, who knows the way the wind blows, you know, we were laughing, you know, earlier in the show, you know, your power could be out for a couple of days unexpectedly, and it's not even crazy weather outside, you know, so there's really just a lot of things. And that's why I encourage people to please come. There's always something new to learn in this, and it's really a wonderful program, so please check that out. We also have coming back up, you know, as sad as, you know, we're winding down on summer kind of programs, we have a lot of fun, you know, fall stuff coming up because our Project Independence Advisory Committee meeting will be back on Wednesday, September 13th. That's at Clinton G. Martin Park. It's also via Zoom if you would like to do it virtually. And we are going to have Marielle Hunneberg, who is the director of speech therapy at Metro PT. We've had her on the radio show before, and she is just incredible because it's Fall Prevention Month in September. So she's going to have a lot of really good tips and tricks. I encourage people to come up. We'll talk about just different things going on in the community, different needs in the community. So the advisory committee is also just the best place to kind of get all this information and to share what you think is necessary. So call 311 or 516-869-6311 to register for that program. Our St. Francis free cardiac screening van will be making its rounds. It's going to be on Friday, September 8th over at the Yes We Can Community Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on September 22nd, it will be over at Clinton G. Martin Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I love this van because you do not need to make an appointment for this. But I always recommend that you call 311 ahead of time to make sure the bus is going to be that location because sometimes it breaks down and there's different scheduling issues. So,
they
but
are
really,
wonderful. Kristina, how long has this partnership been going on with St. Francis? I mean,
it
it's
has to be for over 10 years, I'd say. You know, I mean, I've been scheduling it. I don't even remember, I mean, for a very, very long time. I don't even know if I was still an intern at the time scheduling it. So that's like a lot of years.
yeah.
But it's really a wonderful, and we're so fortunate, you know, to have such strong partners, and we're always looking to build partners. You know, I know Beck can speak on it too. We've really just been meeting with a lot of organizations and just explaining what services we have, and a lot of it's from this show, which is so wonderful. You know, I'll find an organization and then they want to further, you know, talk about partnering and different services. So we're always looking to build our network because we're so fortunate to have, obviously in North Hempstead, but on Long Island as well. So many great organizations. And it also just made me laugh. Beck had a very lovely phone call the other day from a senior who it was about the radio show and about her love of listening to us. And, obviously we talk about so many wonderful topics, but she was interested in the General Hospital topic, which was awesome. Because we were talking about TV shows, and Beck came to me with a big smile on her face. So I heard she's a big fan of our show. So
she really is. It was so nice. I think it was Mary.
Yes.
She was lovely. She listens to our show all the time. And, all these little things that kind of interest, because when you share an interest with someone, it's like, she was so excited to kind of talk about it. It was lovely. She's lovely. And she promises to continue listening. So we're appreciative when we hear from people who listen.
Yes, it's nice. It's nice to hear. Absolutely.
Sometimes I hear from people when I'm at Fun Day Monday. Oh, Rebecca,
Yes.
Kristina, Rebecca.
I know, but I run right into people, it always happens at the building. Oh my God. And they get very excited. I'm like, yes, it's me in the flesh. You see me on the TV screen, but it is me in flesh.
My
But
son-in-law
really nice.
watches us every week.
Oh, good.
That's it. That's all I know.
That's good. So you're missing out, Otto. You're not getting the calls back. That's a beauty of 311.
Yeah.
So always, feel free to call us, and obviously if you want to give us some feedback, please do. Also coming up, we have our Watch Your Step Fall Prevention Program. That's going to kick off on Wednesday, September 13th. It's in partnership with our Project Independence nurses from Northwell Health. It's a 5-session program, and it's all about learning the ways to decrease your risk of falling. Different exercises to increase your strength and balance, the importance of medications for bone health, community and home safety. They have different speakers come in each week to go over all these things. This is going to be at the Port Washington Library. Registration is required. So please call 311. I think there's a couple of spots currently left for that. And then, of course, our Fridays at Yes We Can program will be kicking off on September 29th. And that is everything from the exercise for balance and strength. There's going to be some chats called The Power of Music on Your Health, What in the World is Going On, and Color Me Calm program, Heart to Heart Bingo and blood pressure screenings, brain games. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different programs on different dates. If you are interested, call 311 to register for that. So great stuff. Beck, I know the exercise program is going to be registering. Registration starts on August 29th.
Yeah,
I believe.
Next week.
Next week, that's right.
311-516-869-6311 after 10 a.m. So any calls before that, we're not ready. We're really trying to accommodate everybody. We added a class. We anticipate a lot more people signing up. Just as last year, there's a 2-class minimum, and you can't take the same back-to-back classes. So like if there's a class yoga and the next class is Tai Chi, that's fine. But if they're
2-class maximum, I just wanted to, I know you said 2-class maximum. Yes.
Yeah. 2-class maximum. But that doesn't include the Friday classes at Yes We Can. So you can take 2 classes and also sign up for the exercise for balance. Yeah. So just give a call, and you'll hear back from us. And we look forward to another busy exercise.
I can't believe we're here. It's time really certainly flies, as the show does.
And so did the show. Mm-hmm. So that's it for the show for Project Independence in You for this week. Any questions about the show, anything we talked about, please call 311-516-869-6311. Thanks to Otto, of course, Kristina, who pulls this together every week, Dan Cox, and our terrific guest, Kai Su. It's another Project Independence in You program finished for today. You're listening to Project Independence in You Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org, and we will see you next week. Thank you.